Hello guys, welcome back. And this time around we're going to talk about Nintendo and the Amiibos. Now obviously there's been a lot of attention to Nintendo since they had their Nintendo Direct, which of course shut off the new Mario Kart DLC coming out, which is coming out November 13th, and Amiibos. But in their semi-annual financial results, Miyamoto was talking to Nintendo investors, basically, as my light goes out, of course it doesn't want to work, that they should have put more effort into the NFC functionality much earlier, which I believe if you had that in your controller from the beginning and seeing what just Skylanders did, forget before Disney Infinity came out, they should have thought about it, right? It would have been a big win earlier for them, obviously. Not that it won't be good for them now. It's going to do really well. I know it'd be cool and exciting. Just the fact you can put that on your, certain ones on your Mario Kart 8 and it'll give you that costume for your Mii. And obviously Hyrule Warriors, and obviously Smash Brothers is where most people are gonna probably get the figures for. And of course, it was cool they announced the other 5 coming out in December. But during this meeting, he also made point of the fact that Nintendo is known as a video game company, but in fact we're also a toy company. And of course, toys must make the consumer feel the same sense of wonder. And so he said, Amiibo can take other forms other than figures. He goes, like the product range will include cards in the future. Now, what exactly does that mean? Now, again, when you think of cards with Nintendo, you would think was the Game Boy Advance where they had the card reader thing? That would be the last time you had a game reader. It was on the Game Boy. So he said, basically, we could create a game which a player can only bypass several cards. It could bypass several cards over the NFC reader writer, and the results will be stored in the Amiibo card. So, are they going to be bringing a Pokemon card-like game, like maybe Pokemon Card Online, possibly to the Wii U and the 3DS in the future? It could happen with this technology. If they do the cards, they could do other stuff too. They could do a pack which would have that, and they could do one if they wanted to with different uniforms. Whatever they wanted to. Because it's funny when you think of cards or you think of the figures, people don't think of that as DLC like they do when you actually a normal video game DLC. People don't. If you get something in return, like Skylanders for example, even though you're basically paying for DLC to that game, having a figure put on the shelf, for some reason you don't put the correlation together because you're like, oh, that figure looks cool. I like to play with that figure. And they also did say that there would be more smaller and more affordable Amiibo figures in the future, because they want various price points for the consumers, which only makes sense. That's what Skylanders has in a certain sense. And one of the most interesting things he said was, for example, in Animal Crossing games and other games, you could use the Amiibos in certain ways. So it'll be interesting how they go forward. Again, each figure is going to cost $12.99 in the U.S. right now. That's what the figures cost, which isn't the cheapest in the world. And then, of course, in December, they announced Zelda, Diddy Kong, Luigi, Little Mac, Pit, and Captain Falcon will be coming also, which are all cool. So, what do you think about this? That they're talking about maybe doing cards for the Amiibo and smaller figures. Again, when they first announced the name, I'm just not used to the name. It doesn't roll off the tongue, but it's cool to see Nintendo finally embracing this, right? That okay, they dipped into it, now they're going full bore, and it's gonna, and the fact it's gonna work in their games, on the 3DS and on the Wii U, there's a lot of functionality. Again, I know one of the comments was made, I think it was by Iwata, saying he wants it to be the wonderment that you want to put that figure in every game and you want to see if that figure works on that game or not. That basically, if every game has that functionality, you want to use that same character and see what it does in each different game, which is really cool. So to me, it'd be cool, the card game wise, they could do Pokemon Card Online if they wanted to, or something else. They could just have the cards just be little items, maybe hats or whatever, for whatever they want to do with it. But what do you think about the cards and the smaller figures? What do you think they could do with those cards? Anyway, are you all in for the Amiibo? Do you think it's cool, or do you think it's a gimmick thing? I don't care about it. Again, I think it's cool. I'm really excited for the figures coming out in November, especially the characters I grew up with. Mario, Yoshi, Metroid. Those to me are really cool, and I will definitely get those. Anyway, love to hear your guys' thoughts like always, and I'll make another video soon.